We are in the process of painting. It's a bit messy right now, but I wanted to, we're gonna turn this down because copyright, but we're in the process of painting. He's taken all the cabinets out, he's sanded. What are we doing today, baby?
We are prepping for paint, or at least primer. Prime all these cabinets. Step one.
So everything's a hot mess in here, but we're very excited, aren't we?
It's not too hot. Very good shorts.
I didn't say it was hot.
It says a hot mess.
Anyway, I'm gonna keep up with the process, hopefully, by keeping everyone informed, right?
Yeah.
All right, we will see you in a bit. It's a bit of a mess right now, but it's getting there. We got a new one of these, which is really nice. And then these are gonna be the handles that we're gonna have all the way through. We're gonna change the faucet, and we're probably not gonna keep that, but you can see all this.
These satellite images from US company NASA Technology.
And then we're gonna change this faucet, which is really nice because we've got this all done. I hated this. Ow. But we're gonna put a pillar there. He put extension cords there for me. I hope I'm not bleeding. We've decided to keep this because I might need it, especially if we put a washer in there. But you can kind of see we've got paint on the walls. It's very exciting. Gray. It looks so nice. We're eventually going to change the floors, but for now, it is what it is. So this is an update. It's going really, really well. We're going to change the blinds to yeah.
And meanwhile, Russia is expanding.
So we've got all these nice new port. He put one in here as well, which is really cool. So, so this light's really cool. About to blind you all. Sorry. So it does the blue, and then up.
Not the sign that Russia
and
is
then
deliberately targeting civilians.
He put there like USB stuff for the dogs, and we're gonna put this light here. That's gonna look really nice. Yeah, that's really it. That's all we've got. So we're in the process of changing it. I'm sure you do not need to listen to this news.
Eternity later.
The first residents of Sumy who managed to flee via one of...
But yeah, so super excited. Love to see it changing, and can't wait to see it done and move into it. Anyway, that's all I have. Bye, guys. What's up, guys? Welcome to our first video. I'm Brittany.
I'm John.
And I wrote down 10 questions that I feel like things we wanted to know about a lot of people moving into RVs or buying RVs, so that we could answer for you guys. So I feel like we'll just get the ball rolling. So as you saw in the earlier part of the video, we basically started renovating an RV, and oh my gosh, it's been
Almost a year.
Almost a year.
I think September will be our 1 year purchasing anniversary.
Yeah, so it's been a long time coming. As you can see, we're clearly in it now. So
But we're not done yet.
no, it's not. This isn't staying. This is changing. So I guess we'll just start with the questions. Ready? Are you moving full time?
Yes.
Yes. Whose idea was it?
It's kind of both of ours.
When we first started dating, he toyed with the idea and brought it up to me of moving into a bus.
It's very fascinating watching other YouTube videos of bus renovations. I did not initially realize how much work would be involved with renovating a bus because you're starting essentially scratch, actually less than scratch. So that's kind of where the idea of an RV came in.
And we actually toured a bus and we realized for us it just wasn't going to work just with how narrow it was. And I was having, well, one big dog, one medium dog.
Yeah, I think scouting about schoolies.
Yeah, so
Scouting about schoolies.
I'll add their little hashtag
And we'll link them in the
Instagram.
bottom. Check
They're
them out.
amazing people. They're doing it with their 2 kids and a cat, and it's really cool. We just figured for us we needed a little bit more space that way. Okay, why an RV instead of like another vehicle, like a toy hauler, or why a fifth wheel?
Well, I wanted a fifth wheel for the towability of it. Another big thing for me, a fifth wheel versus travel trailer was ceiling height. The ceiling height of, like where the peak ceiling height's like, I don't know, over 10 feet, probably 11 feet, maybe. I could be wrong. Probably 10 feet.
We
But,
did
yeah.
tour a few different variations when we were looking.
We looked and looked and looked. We live in Tampa, so we're like right next to, like the huge like Tampa RV super show every year, and there's 3 or 4 RV dealerships around here. So we went and looked and looked and looked, and just to get like a feel of what it was like inside. Was it small? How small is it? Is it too small? And then to see what kind of layout we wanted, and it helped us come up with a checklist of things that we wanted to see, features I guess you could say, in the RV to make it as comfortable as possible for us.
Yeah, because my thing was even though we're moving small, there were still things that I felt we still wanted.
Yep.
I do have that question a little later on, so we'll definitely go to that, but I just wanted to point that out. Like, we're not moving into an RV and taking away a lot. I find that I still have everything I want and then some. Okay. What was it like renovating an RV?
Not that bad. It's just, I think that the most tedious headache part of it is paint. Because in a house, like you cut the walls in, and then you can roll, and then that wall is done. Sheetrock is made to accept paint. That's easy. You prime it, you paint it, you go. Everything in here is either having to be cut in, or it's like veneer and it wants to have 0 things adhere to it. So painting is probably the worst part. And then basically everything else is pretty easy. I had a lot of experience prior to joining the Marine Corps with residential construction, and I've worked on the inside of mobile homes before, so I kind of had a previous skill set and some previous knowledge on what this was going to look like. So yeah, definitely painting. Painting was something I underestimated.
Yeah, I mean, I, bless his soul, had him paint cabinets, walls, other things. Like, I had him touch pretty much everything with paint on it, and because I wanted it to feel fresh, brighter. As you saw earlier, it was really dark and gloomy, and I was like, there's no way that I'm living in something so dark and gloomy, and I'm so glad he agreed. Because he probably could have lived in it, at least for a time being, like straight into it, exactly how it looked like, and I couldn't.
I could have lived in it the way it was.
Yeah.
She, however, asked to make it look like our old apartment. And so that's what I tried to do. I figure if I can get my wife to agree to live in a fifth wheel, the compromise was enough for me to put in some effort to make it comfort comfortable for her.
Don't let him fool you. He loves the way that it turned out.
Well, yeah, of course. I did all the work.
But no, I'm super happy. We'll do a full like finished tour. So right now it's still kind of in the middle of everything. Eventually we're gonna change the floors to make them look up to where, yeah, we're up to where everything else is. Eventually we're changing the blinds. Eventually, you know, there's a bunch of things that we have planned. But we'll definitely do like an RV organization tour and like what we do to stay organized, what we've upgraded, those kind of videos as well, because he's done a lot of maintenance upgrades. I feel like we changed the heater just recently. We've upgraded faucets. He put a triple filter in as well, so our water is like super drinkable, which is, what else? You changed the hitch.
Yeah. We'll have to do like another video on all the stuff that's happened. But it's been a lot. I mean, we've got a new refrigerator, a 12 volt from I took out the absorption refrigerator, put a 12 volt fridge in. Took the 10 gallon dual fuel like LP 110 water heater out, replaced it with tankless water heater. The whole shower was taken out. Yeah, it's just been a lot. There's a lot of new stuff that we put into it. Some out of necessity, some out of just creature comfort. So.
These are our dogs. Okay, were there any arguments or conflict when renovating?
No.
No.
Other than me just putting the brakes on the budget a little bit here and there. Mostly we had a pretty similar idea of what we wanted it to look like.
I tried to stay out of his way and just say what I wanted and let him do it. I think that was probably the safest thing.
I think it helps that I had some knowledge on all, like, how to do all this, and I didn't have any, and I don't mean this in a negative way, I didn't have any expectations as to what I thought you needed to be doing. Yeah. And so I try to take that with everything in life. But
I think because a lot of videos that we did watch, I feel like there's some couples out there who both were very inexperienced, at least that we've watched for the most part, were to renovating, so they both did it together to kind of make that process a lot faster. We were very lucky in our situation where we still had the house.
Yeah.
So I didn't really need to put as much into this, really any at all. I did start to help at the very beginning of the video you saw, but I think that was the first and last time that I touched.
Yeah, we weren't really in any kind of a hurry to get into it. In fact, it was quite the opposite. We had
so much time.
Yeah, we had probably too much time. Made us kind of complacent.
We probably could have finished the whole RV realistically.
Yeah. But that would work really hard for a while, get burned out, take a break, work on it for a while, get burned out, take a break. And
I started a new job. He had surgeries at some point, so there was just no way that he was able to do things that I wasn't going to touch it. I'm a trainer, so I work ridiculous hours at any given point of when my clients need it. So it was just kind of like the way it worked out.
Yeah.
We just never really were butting heads, and we, for the most part, agreed on everything that we wanted.
We don't really have much conflict anyway, though.
No. As a couple, we're actually
almost freakishly, like, agreeable with each other.
And, like, in the best way, by the way. This isn't, like, a couple's video, but in the best way, I feel like.
Yeah, we're well suited for this, I think.
Yes. Okay. What do you have planned with your RV?
Well, for right now, it's just going to be our home. I've got eight months left in the Marine Corps. So right now, like, I can travel, but not really travel. If anybody's been in the military, they know, like, your leave is forever dependent on a chain of people going, like, so once I get out of the Marine Corps, we'll be a little bit more free to wander. But then we're going to travel to Idaho.
Hopefully.
And
unless you go to Utah.
Yeah, maybe. Tentatively, we're going to travel to Idaho in the Caldwell area, and so I can attend school. I work in IT now for the Marine Corps, but I'm going to transition to hopefully be a commercial helicopter pilot. So once we get to Idaho, between school and work, we'll travel as we can. We may not drag the whole fifth wheel everywhere we go, but
I think it's for us both being on this side of the U.S. To be able to go to the West is really exciting and something new for both of us to live in that. I mean, he's traveled in the snow, he's been all around thanks to the Marine Corps, but for me, I'm used to summer beaches, not a lot of snow, so that's going to be such a transition for me personally. So I'm really excited to experience that and have that adventure. We watch a lot of YouTubers and
yeah, we don't even have cable. All we do is stream YouTube.
Yeah.
I love YouTube. It's great. There's everything you want to be entertained. It's on YouTube. You want to change out your water heater in your RV. It's on YouTube. You want to do engine work on your truck. It's on YouTube.
Dog training's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Literally everything.
So,
fitness is on YouTube. Love it.
So we don't pay for cable. We just stream YouTube.
So our real plan is to finish renovating right before we move. Hopefully, what we can at least. I mean, I don't hate the floors, but I prefer all solid, no carpet.
Here we go.
Yes, I would. But for the most part, we are hoping to have more adventure in our lives. That's really what both of us wanted.
Yeah. No, yeah, like nothing against Florida. I'm from South Georgia, and it's flat, and it's hot, and it's humid. She's from Bermuda, where it's flat, hot, humid.
It's not flat, but it's definitely hot and humid.
Flat. Anyway, so we're looking forward to going out west and living on one side or the other of the Rockies and being able to go out and enjoy something other than flat, beachy.
We don't go to the beach. We sound really spoiled right now. We don't go to the beach.
Yeah.
It's just not our kind of style. He's really big into camping. I personally have not camped, and I'm still iffy about it, but I'm definitely intrigued with the beauty of where the RV can't go, and to be able to take the dogs and us and kind of go to a different area to see such beauty, like untouched property would be.
Yeah, I think in the beginning she had the idea that we would just take the fifth wheel, a 36-foot fifth wheel, through like little mountain trails and go park it by glacier-fed lakes and all that.
Well, you might as well tell them what fifth wheel we have.
Oh yeah, we've got so we have a 2013 Montana High Country, and it's the 303 RK. So it's a rear kitchen, it's 36 feet long, and it didn't exactly check all of the boxes for the RV that we, like our dream RV, but it checked enough that it was the one that we wanted to grab.
We were very lucky, even though it's a 2013, our bones were so excellent still.
Yeah, so like, unfortunately, for the couple who we purchased the RV from, it was just an elderly couple who were splitting up. They were getting a divorce, and I found the RV online and made contact with them, and it was down in Fort Myers, which is 2 hours south of here. We went and looked at it, and it was almost unused. There were still carpet covering, like the plastic shrink wrap adhesive carpet covering from the factory. So the RV itself was almost completely unused.
Well, I think it's funny comparing to RVs that we did look at that weren't as old.
But still had like a funky
they had a funky smell, and it was just not, I don't know.
Or like, you could tell like where something had broken and they tried to like hodgepodge repair it.
Yeah.
This one was just relatively untouched. They towed it with a half-ton truck. They towed it with like a 2016 Dodge Ram 4-door pickup truck.
You're looking at me like I know.
I'd say this for the ones that don't understand it. It blew my mind. But really what they were doing is they were just going from Fort Myers, Florida, across to Daytona Beach and parking it in the infield for a few days, and then they bring it back and put it in storage. And that was all that they ever did with it. So realistically, like, this thing is still very much unused. It's just got 10 years of age on it almost. So.
But like, yeah, it was perfect for us when we saw it. We both looked at each other. We were like, yep, this is it.
It's got a washer and dryer hookup. The mattress is perpendicular to the frame. So yeah, this RV definitely checked all the boxes. Had a washer and dryer hookup, parallel to the frame mattress, so the mattress was in the slide. We liked the bathroom. Had a corner shower. The refrigerator wasn't, the double door refrigerator wasn't as big. I think it was a 7.5 or 8 cubic foot refrig. So that wasn't exactly like what I was looking for, but it was good enough. It has the drop frame pass-through storage, so there's plenty of storage space. And the other two items that were really huge were, and I wanted at least a 35-foot fifth wheel for the length because we're full-timing, and it had to weigh under 13,000 pounds, and the tongue weight had to be like 2,000 pounds or below. So finding all of the features that we were looking for in that fifth wheel package of weight and length was kind of difficult. So thankfully this was met that criteria, and we were able to get it at a really good price. We got it below the blue book value by quite a bit. So it worked out well for us. So on to the next question.
Well, that was kind of our must-haves.
Oh yeah, must-haves.
So he kind of narrowed down our must-haves. More of his must-haves. I just wanted it to be clean and livable.
Not smell.
Not smell.
Sometimes you get in like an RV, whether it's just like been sitting for a while, it hasn't been used very much, or like people like they didn't work very clean, right? They didn't take care of their tanks properly. You get in and smell the open door, and you're just like,
yeah.
Oh god.
So we were very lucky. We ended up with this one. It really, he had a checklist of all the things he needed maintenance-wise. I just wanted to make sure it didn't smell and that I didn't feel claustrophobic in here. And I don't at all. If anything, I feel like the bright colors of paint made it feel even more open.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, next question.
Yeah.
What is it like living small with two bigger dogs?
Sometimes it's interesting, but you know, like we right now especially are parked right beside a fenced-in dog run, so that is massive because we can take them off the leash, let them run around. Rhea, our husky, doesn't really like to use the bathroom on a leash. We can walk around for quite some time on a leash before she decides to go. So having the fenced-in dog run is great, and we definitely have to walk them once a day at least. But having some bones around and having a dog bed, and then we have a blanket on our mattress that they can lay on that gets washed regularly. Outside of that,
they were up our butts to begin with.
it's really not that different.
Yeah. Like even in the house, when we had the house,
Yeah.
he's cheering about if you heard that. Even at the house, we had an ottoman with a blanket on it, and they would just stay there all the time. I'll like find a picture and like
Or if
pop it up. But
one of us would go to the bathroom and follow you into the bathroom and sit at your feet anyway.
if you have a dog, you know personal space doesn't exist anyway. So, I mean, we're not in a tiny RV at all, and we don't have kids, so it's not like we have any extra, like, the area behind this camera is basically unused space right now. Like, we've looked at other videos of some RVs with people, and they have crammed pretty much their house in an RV, and we looked at each other when we were moving into this going, that is not going to be us.
Yeah, we've done the opposite. We actually, we got rid of so much stuff that now we have like empty shelves and empty cabinets, which is great. I couldn't imagine the opposite. Like we don't even have we threw the old dining room table away. Our house dining room table doesn't fit in here, so we don't even have that right now. But that's great. We'll be able to assess how much space, what kind of table we would like, and then get one later on down the road. You know, so right now we've got so much space that having the two dogs in here really isn't a problem.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we take them for exercise.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Part,
is like just making sure that they get an outlet for their energy.
I feel like that was a big question from my family in particular of like, what are you gonna do with the dogs? Isn't that such a small space for the dogs? And I feel like people watching this is kind of like, well, what are you gonna do with the dogs?
Plus our house was only like 1,050 square feet, and it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and 2 of the bedrooms were practically unused anyway. Like we never really ventured in there. We never spent any time in there. We didn't use the other bathroom. So like if it wasn't our bedroom, our bathroom, the living room, or the kitchen, like that part of the house is just, you're just paying to condition that space for no reason.
Yeah.
So it's really not that much different. Plus, like with this slide opposing the other slide, like 8 feet plus 3 plus 4, there's 15 feet of 15. 8 plus 4 is 12 plus 3, 15. Yeah, so there's 15 feet of space from wall to wall. I mean, it's not cramped. It's really not cramped at all. So I don't have any issues being in here with the 2 dogs.
No, neither do I. And bear in mind, we've only been in the RV for like...
We've been living full-time now for a week and a half.
Yeah, so we haven't really been living it long enough, but I feel like a week and a half is enough to know whether or not this is too small for the dogs.
Yeah.
We have very rambunctious dogs. We have a 2-year-old German Shepherd and a 1-year-old Husky. And if anyone knows anything about the 2 breeds, is that they're completely psychotic, very energetic.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really all it is. So to have those 2 dogs in a smaller space, which really to us isn't that small, doesn't make a difference to our lives. So if you have 2 dogs and you're considering getting a 5th wheel or what have you, moving smaller, it does work. I cannot vouch if you have kids. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hats off.
Yeah, to people who move into this with kids, because I don't know if I can ever do it with kids.
No, I think if something happened, like knock on wood, whatever, if we had a kid, we would probably be like maybe like 1 to 2, maybe even 3 years old. That would be okay, but we would be planning an exit strategy.
Or a bigger RV, I don't know.
Yeah.
We would definitely figure it out in a different way. I mean, we have neighbors who have kids, and one of them has almost a preteen. At least that's what she looks like. She's tall.
Yeah,
so.
actually, the couple that's right here, right beside us,
they're already smaller than ours.
Yeah, they've got like maybe a 28, 25 foot travel trailer, and it's the husband, the wife, a younger boy,
yeah,
and a
preteen,
young
if
girl.
not teen.
And I mean, hats off. Nothing wrong with it.
Nope. If it works for them, amazing. If you're like a family that want to have more adventure, I mean, we've watched videos of people who went from gigantic homes,
2,800 square foot homes,
just RVs with their 3 or 4 kids, and they all love it. Again, we don't know if that's something we would ever want to do if we ever do decide to have kids.
Yeah, it's hard to say not being in those shoes.
Yeah, so we're not sure. We are definitely excited to experience this lifestyle as the 4 of us.
Yeah.
And not add any addition quite yet. But I mean, we're also not at that phase yet in our lives, so we can't really judge that. Okay. What is it like to be living in such a small space with your spouse?
I have 0 issues at all.
Same. For couples who clearly fight a lot, I probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I feel like if you... I'm not one to give relationship advice here, but if you're on any kind of like rocky ground, or if you're not 100% sure that your relationship is good, or if you ever go on vacation and you're like, glad to have a break from my spouse, or she goes away and you're like, whoa, I'm glad to have a break from my spouse, this is probably not the thing to do.
Yeah.
But thankfully, we don't have that kind of relationship.
We're very lucky,
so.
Yeah. We're very lucky in the sense of I feel like I want to be attached to him in the most healthy way, but I feel like work to me is like my time away from you.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm always texting him like, I miss you, I love you, how's your day going? Like, we're not a needy couple where we feel like we need to be leeches to each other, but we also, I don't feel...
When we're not distant. And like, if I need to get some space, there's probably a task outside that I can go work on, or I can probably go work on my truck, or do something outside or go for a walk or whatever.
And I feel like we're very good at sitting in silence with each other. Like,
Yeah.
we can both just sit right here and probably not talk to each other for a couple of hours and be okay with that. So if you're not that kind of couple and you feel like you need to
Yeah, like if you're in each other's, if you're in proximity and you have to have a conversation, it's probably not for you.
Yeah, because you are with this person a lot. I mean, granted, we haven't moved yet, so we haven't like traveled quite yet living
but I
together,
mean,
but
traveling versus
yeah,
staying stationary is still the same amount of space.
he's my best friend, and I literally, like, I genuinely love spending every second with him that I can. Okay, sorry for our little interlude. Is that the right word?
You ready?
Okay. Back to us living in a small space with spouse. If you feel like you get triggered by your spouse a lot, you don't trust your spouse, they annoy you, then I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, I know there's things that I irritate John with, and there's things that he irritates me with, like leaving his shoes all over the place, or socks all over the place. But I'm sure there's things, hello, I'm sure there's things that I annoy him with as well, so.
Pretty easy going.
You are really easygoing. I think I'm more of the uptight one of the two of us.
Yeah.
We balance each other out, so we work out really well. So you're so mean. Okay, last and final question. What is storage like in your RV?
Well, we hinted at it earlier. We have adequate storage for us. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got like 5 or 6 cabinets that are basically still untouched with space. Plus, there's plenty of room still underneath in the pass-through storage. Granted, I'm trying not to like fill that up, but I mean, and that includes like, I've got enough tools that I can do anything to my truck or anything to her car mechanically.
Or the RV.
Or the RV, yeah. So like, me, it's just us two. Like, we don't have kids or anything like that. But storage-wise, like we've got plenty of space. There again, though, we threw a lot of stuff out. We either sold everything or just tossed it. We went like a trash binge. Like, I can't tell you how many like 55-gallon trash bags we filled up with just the stuff that we hadn't touched.
Yeah.
Like, we went through the house, and if we hadn't touched something in like 3 months, we just either donated it, sold it, or threw it away.
Yeah.
Because we didn't need it.
And I mean, I'm actually really impressed with myself. I don't know if there's anyone else out there, female-wise, that just loves clothes and shoes, bags. I am that girl where I bought unnecessary things that I probably didn't need to buy. And I went through my closet. It took me a minute. I was procrastinating it. But I did. I went through my closet.
It took some gentle pushing. Some like, hey dear, you should probably
But once I did it, I got rid of a lot of, like, I just went, don't need it, don't need it, donate, don't need it, don't need it, donate.
Yeah.
For pretty much
a lot of stuff.
a lot of stuff that
I'm
I
very
don't.
proud of you and grateful for that.
Oh, I did keep a good chunk of my shoes, but I do. Hello, goodbye. I do wear sneakers a lot for work, and I change it up every so often.
I think you kept like 12 pairs of shoes.
Yeah, and I did keep some heels if we ever do go somewhere nice, and I kept a couple dresses in case we go somewhere nice, and jeans and stuff like that. So I did keep things just in case we go do things as a couple. I'm a big homebody, so for the most part I am either in sweatpants or I'm in leggings. So, I mean, throwing stuff away was really easy. And then when it came to like storage in the main part, I just wanted to be as organized as possible. I was trying to find things on YouTube that could give me ideas.
A lot of like RV storage videos are basically just like, this is not us being
Correct.
it's not us being like, oh, what's the word?
Horrible, mean.
No, like, it's not us being like condescending or like trying to talk down about other people's videos. It seems like a lot of the RV storage, like, hey, this is how we stored our stuff, is really just people going, we took our house and shoved it into containers and then shoved those containers into cabinets. When in reality, you can't take 10 pounds of stuff and put it in a 5-pound stack.
And make it look nice.
Yeah, so we took the mindset of, you haven't touched it in 3 months, throw it out. And then later on, if you're like, wow, I needed, like this tube of, face product or whatever.
Yeah.
And we can just go get it, put it back, and then going forward.
We also said, like, okay, if we're going to get something and it has a place, what we have there already, do we want that thing bad enough that we're going to throw this thing away?
Yep. Yeah.
It's how our mindsets are going forward.
Yeah, if it comes in,
something has
to go.
Yeah,
so.
Something has to leave. So, like with the kitchen, we'll do a storage once we kind of...
Well, part of that also, the kitchen is not 100% finished yet.
Yeah.
I am going to have to add some shelves inside of some of the cabinets. I think a lot of people probably have realized this. We're not, inventing the wheel here. The cabinets in RVs are sometimes very tall, and what you end up with is like, a lot of wasted space from like the top of one cup, all the way to the top of the cabinet. It just becomes wasted space.
And we have like a cheap rack right now that we got to kind of elevate that, to put some cups and stuff, and then have like plates and bowls on the bottom.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we've somehow really managed to not overcrowd our space at all, which is really great. We are looking at getting into a dishwasher, so we are trying to work around that of like, okay, this space is going to be taken away.
I don't know if we're going to be able to fit it.
We're not sure. I mean, honestly, at first I was really like, oh my gosh, I feel like I need a dishwasher, but I really am not. I know.
Hand washing dishes. Since there's only 2 of us, there's only so many dishes we can make at one time.
Now, I mean, when we were living in the house, I was creating meals that acquired a lot of different, and it was just easier to put in the dishwasher. But realistically, I'm trying to basically make smaller meals that don't, if I'm going to use a chopping board, I'll just rinse it off. If I use it on meat, and like wash it and then just kind of reuse it. I don't have a lot of counter space to begin with, so it's kind of hard to just
lay everything.
Yeah, so I can't have 6 chopping boards out for something and then different pans for different ingredients. So now it's just like learning how to navigate through the smaller space, which is fine. So using and washing all of our dishes hasn't been a burden as much as I thought it would so far. And I think knowing in the first week whether or not that was going to irritate me is pretty big. I do have to say though, a washer dryer is a must-have for me.
It's coming.
That's something that we've learned because we're still using the house right now as well. We're full-time, but
we're just using the house for laundry.
And although
until it sells.
Yeah, although it's not really that bad at all because we still have somewhere, like we don't have to use a laundromat or anything. It is inconvenient when you work 10 hours out of the day and you need to go and do laundry, so you have to come here, but you also have to do the dogs, and you also need to cook food, and like he's working on other stuff with the house to kind of like make sure it's done and complete. So it's kind of like really hard balancing all of that. And then still having to wait at the house for the laundry for 4 hours is kind of really inconvenient.
We're taking three trips.
Yeah, multiple trips to kind of get, and I try to do everything in one day, like bedding and all of our laundry, any towels, any blankets, any dog stuff that needed to be washed. I try to do all in one day. So.
Yeah. But that's the end of our 10 questions. If there's anything else you guys are thinking about, if you you've been pondering whether this is right for you or not, or you just have any curiosities, let us know down in the comments below. We're going to make another video at some point, probably maybe a month, just to kind of sanity check ourselves, still double check to make sure this is it.
We're still new to it, so we're still learning. There's still things that we're going to keep learning. I mean, I've seen videos of people who have been doing it for a year, and they're like, this is something we've learned throughout time that works for us, that we needed, that we don't need, kind of thing. So there will always be check-in videos, and there's always other videos out there if you guys do want to see them, but everyone's lifestyles are so different. So different. So it's always kind of user discretion. If it's something you've been interested in, definitely do your research.
Yeah.
Definitely do your research.
And then my goal is to not necessarily like teach everybody how to do a bunch of stuff with RVs, but there's so much unknown. Like I replaced the entire shower in the RV and could not find one really great video on what to expect when I pulled the walls apart.
Not anything where they weren't trying to sell you
yeah.
how to do it.
So stuff like that, like my goal would be like at some point I'm gonna have to put a second air conditioner up in the front, or like if we get going and the heater goes out. Videos like that I would like to make going forward, not necessarily to teach somebody step by step, but just to give somebody an idea of what it's like to do it, give them the visual on what it looks like in our RV, so that you can have the confidence to do it in your RV, or not.
Yeah. But that is all we had for today. I hope this answers some questions for people who've been pondering this, or just kind of were curious. I feel like there's not a lot of videos out there where people are answering real questions.
Yeah. Well, like, what's 5 objects you can't live without?
Yeah, so things we really felt like people want and need to hear when coming into an RV. And we're still really young, so this is new for young people.
Yeah.
I mean, so realistically, this is something where people are like, you don't want to buy a house, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that. The American dream. And so forth. So this is still new for a younger generation. So we want to make sure that we're here educating, not giving clickbait, obviously, but also showing you the fun and the not so fun bits.
Yeah. Just spread some awareness. That's all.
Alright. Well, with that, we hope you guys have a wonderful day, night, whenever you're watching this. Don't forget to like, subscribe to our channel. I will be creating and editing other videos for educating and all that fun stuff. So be on the lookout.
And comment down below if you have any more, if you have any questions or things you'd like to see, or a project you'd like to have. Yeah.
Any other questions that we probably didn't answer today, or it's something that you guys do want to see that we might not think of posting. So help us out.
Anyway, bye.